Hey everyone, here we are. Checking out if everything's alright. Yep, pretty good. HD is okay. Here we go. Yeah, okay. Hey everyone, welcome aboard. So this is okay here. Cool. Hey everyone, welcome aboard to this live tech show. This is number 79, believe it or not, already. Number 79, and we are Tuesday, May 30th, 2017, and month of May is almost over. Time really just flies. Amazing. If you think about it, in a month's time, half of the year will already be done. Just can't believe how. I don't know if it's, getting older or something, but it seems like time goes even faster now than it did back, when I was young. So welcome aboard, and this is, of course, the show where I answer your questions and where I, try to do my best. Lots of diverse questions today, interesting questions. Also, of course, if you have a question, you could at any time send me a question at helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com. And I've got a certain number of questions already there. After we've gone through those questions, we'll go through the chat room. And I hope everybody enjoys today's show. Always fun to have everybody on board. And pretty cool to have all of you here already. So, we've had a lot of rain here. It's raining like hell right now, and it's like going to rain all week or almost. I think Thursday is the only day that's going to be nice with about 21 Celsius. It's just, we're in really weird temperature. At least we had a cool thing last weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We had sunshine, it was about 25 Celsius. So we kind of, it charged up the batteries a little bit before we got into the week with all the rain and everything. But boy, what a hell of a weather we're getting here. It's just crazy. So hello everybody in the chat room. We'll get to the chat room a little later on. And been testing out. I'm actually testing a little Linux version here on this 17-inch laptop that a client of mine actually gave me a few weeks ago. So just playing around with Linux and just having fun. And so cool to see everybody here. Hope everybody is all right, of course. And it's pretty cool to see everyone. Want to come over, Kitty? Everybody likes to see you. Come on. Trying to get the cat, Paul the cat, looking. And here we go. Woo! And here is Mr. Paul the cat saying hello to everybody. Look here. Look at that. Yeah, everybody wants to see your face. Hey, little kitty. So hi, everybody. Nice to have all of you here. Pretty cool to have all of you, as usual. So, of course, the usual donations. If you can send me a little something to help me out with the live shows, with everything I do, much appreciated. We've got some nice donators, and of course, if you for some reason I you helped you in some way, you have fixed the problem thanks to me, or you just like what I do, why not think of a little something? You can send a PayPal donation at the Yahoo email you see at the bottom here. You can also become a patron. We already have a certain number of patrons that actually have are regular donators to our show. So it's really cool. Thanks everybody that have donated. And, if you can do a little something, doesn't matter, whatever amount, could be $1, doesn't really matter. It really, really helps me a lot in these times of very crappy AdSense monetization on YouTube. So, what else do we have here? Let's start with router questions. And these are questions coming to us from, just check it out here, Need to move on. So here we go. And cat is surrendering. Why the hell are you not petting me anymore? So, questions about routers come to us from Mark that says, hello, regular viewer. Sent a question a few months back. I want to have another question here about the router questions that he has. First of all, he's got a new router and he says that he gave it the same name in the SSID, and password also is the same. He thought, hey, I'm going to pop up that new router and it's going to work, but it doesn't. And he says his computer cannot connect. It doesn't work like that. If you actually take another router, put the same SSID and the same password, your computer will not be able to connect to it because its saved information actually recognizes a specific device. So when you connect with your router on wireless, what happens is that your router actually is looking, or your computer is looking at your router, asking information, but it knows what device it is. It has the MAC address, it has all the information there. When you've changed it, the idea was interesting because you said, hey, same name, same password, I'm just gonna plug it in and things are gonna work. The computer for the Windows machine or any machine that you want to plug into, it's going to look at what it has and it's going to say, no, that's not the network I connect to. Or if it does attempt a connection, it's going to say, nah, I can't, it's failing all the time. So what you'll need to do is in every device that you have, because you say, I got iPads, Android phones, you've got PCs, what you need to do is to take all of these devices. In the options for connections, you have a place where it says forget this network. You'll have to have these devices forget your network so that it erases the info that it had about it. And then after you did that, you'll click your network again, re-enter the password, and you'll see that it's going to connect again. It is really because even though it has the same password, even though it has the same name, your computer and your devices don't see the same router, don't see the same thing. For them, it's different than what it was before. So when it attempts to connect, it fails all the time. So this is a known issue. It's something that happens, regularly because people think that they will have, an easy way out by doing that. And we all do it. I think I did it probably at the first time I ever had a router and I changed or maybe installed a router at a client's. I thought, hey, I'm going to give it the same name and password and it's going to connect, and then realized, oh, it doesn't work like that. So you'll have to have every device forget and then reconnect. Now, one of the things that often I do, and because if you're not sure where to go in each device to reconnect, change your router name. You can add, I don't know, if you call your router the SSID, I don't know, home connection. Well, you can, just go there and say, hey, this is home connection 2. Just put a number next to it. Or change the name entirely. And that will prevent you from having to go on each device and delete the network properties on each device. You'll just, go to that connection, click, enter the password, and it's going to work. So no need to change the password if you don't want to, but at least you can either add a number or change the SSID name for sure. So, but that's the problem. It doesn't recognize it as the same device. It can't connect. You ask a question about what a MAC address is and why it is used. A MAC address is a unique identifier. It's like a serial number if you want. And it is unique to every network adapters in the world. There aren't 2 devices in the world that have the same MAC address. Every time there is a new device out, it is checked against a list of available MAC addresses, and it is unique. So the MAC address is unique to your device. It's like a serial number, and it is attributed, part of it is attributed by a manufacturer, part of it is just like a serial number. And because it has letters and numbers, it has, hundreds of billions of possibilities. So, they're not going to run out of MAC addresses soon. So basically, it's very, very unique, and that's why sometimes people can get caught about things. If you connect, for example, to a neighbor's computer, a router or anything, remember one thing is that the MAC address of your device is actually logged in. So if you attempt to use a neighbor's wireless network without their consent, and they find out, they call the cops, well, they could check the router's log, for example, and say, oh, that's the MAC address that connected. They can actually come over, look at your different devices and say which one has that MAC address exactly. And you get caught through this. So remember that that's kind of a fingerprint of your device being connected somewhere. Also, you say that your son has a multiplayer game and that it works, but it lags a lot, and that in the instructions they are actually telling you maybe putting in a fixed IP or opening ports on the router might fix this. And you're wondering, okay, what does that do exactly? Is it dangerous to play with that? Okay, here's the thing. Having a fixed IP is not a problem. You can go in the router, you can select the device that's connected, and say this is always going to connect with 192.168.54.54. And it's just going to work. And if you have to put a specific port open, most games work with just the automatic way of getting a port out that routers use, but sometimes it happens. Unfortunately, you're not telling me what game, so I can't really know what are the specific. If you want to learn more, maybe just send me the name of the game and have the specifics, so I can check out exactly what it needs. But you know what? In a lot of cases, if it lags or everything, make sure that there's not too many devices that are connected at the same time on the router. Make sure you got a good router. Make sure that the router is of higher quality. If there's tons of devices that are connected to the router, and your router is a $30 or $40 router, what often happens is that the router is overwhelmed by the amount of connections. And cheap routers have one problem, major problem, is that the CPU, the processor inside, is so weak that it's not powerful enough to manage a ton of connections rapidly. That's why there are more expensive routers. They not only give you better performance, but the internals, it's like a small computer if you want in a router. What they have is that they often will be able to check out all the connections fast. They will be able to prioritize one connection over another. That's also something that's important for example, online gameplay, because by prioritizing the data, it helps. Like here, I'm sending out a stream of 1080p. It's around 4 megabytes per second. And so that requires the router to kind of, just focus on a specific connection. So that's something to think about and be careful. Make sure that your connection, that your router is a good router also. And how to check if I am hijacked with Wi-Fi? Well, what you could do is simply, every router has a log that you can actually activate if it's not already activated. That's the best way. You activate the log, you go within the menu in your router, and I always stress out that learning how to use and go inside your router for the connections, and knowing a little bit of how to, go through the different menus is kind of a minimum if you use a lot of your computer and devices, if you've got a lot of devices on a network. So in there's a log. Every router has a log, but sometimes it's not turned on. Sometimes it's not. So what you do, you turn on the log, and then you let it go for a few hours, a few days, and you look at the log. The log will tell you every little connection that was done on the router and every device that connected. Even one of the funniest thing about this is that what often happens is that the neighbor, a great example I have is a client of mine. She was, always having, because she was on an internet connection that had a data cap, and she always had $50 supplement to pay every month. And her ISP told her, well, you're always taking more data than you're allowed. That's why you got $50 more to pay. So when she called me, she said, hey, I got some mysterious thing here. I always pay more, and what I do is just check email and read the news, and she doesn't even watch videos online and stuff like that. So at some point, kind of curious, you're like, okay. So I went to the router, and actually I looked at the log. First of all, one of the things I didn't notice, she was in a instead of being WPA protection, she was in WEP, WEP, which is the worst security you can have. And I think in 2017, no routers should actually have WEP available. And when I looked at the log, which was on, I saw iPad of Mohammed, and then I saw PC of Mohammed. And then I asked her, I said, do you know somebody that's called Mohammed? And she looked at me, she said, well, it's my next door neighbor. So I said, well, your next door neighbor is stealing your internet connection. He has the trick to actually hack into your router with the WEP. So he hacked into your router, and he's using your connection now. And that's why you've been getting big bills. So, that was funny because, that's what I call a stupid hacker, if you want. He hacks into a router, but he's so dumb that Mohammed is there in his name in every device that he's got. So it was, the log was funny. It's like iPhone of Mohammed, iPad of Mohammed, a PC of Mohammed. I was like, okay, you're so dumb. You're so dumb. You think you can act like that and just get away with it? You're just a stupid dumbass, So it's like, man, it's just that was crazy, So of course, in her case, she was telling me, what should I do? And I said, look, it all depends, who he is and everything. You can go and say, look, you were hacked into my Wi-Fi router, and ask for $50. Or you can just shut up and forget it. And anyways, I put her security up to WPA2, which now was impossible to hack into. And, we couldn't connect anymore. But, there are some really bad, dumbass people out there. That's why you got to be very, very, very careful about everything you do. So it's just amazing. Just amazing. Yes, it is a crime in the US and in Canada. If you are connected to a Wi-Fi router of somebody without them giving you access, it is a crime. You could technically call the cops and say, hey, that guy, But, sometimes, a lonely woman alone in her apartment, sometimes it's better to just shut up and now know that, okay, from now on, everything's going to be all right. I would guess, that's kind of what I told her a little bit. I said, you live alone, got nobody else here. maybe, just shut up and don't, ignore that, and hopefully, but it is just, so bad. When I see things like that, I'm like, man, I remember when talking about that. When I talk about that, is that I remember when Wi-Fi started getting popular. Me and a friend of mine were going through the streets here and always looking at all the Wi-Fi signals and checking out how many people were unprotected. It's crazy to think, but at the beginning of Wi-Fi, a lot of people just put that router there and it's like, hey, we're connected. Yeah, but your neighbor's connected and everybody can connect because, And I remember what I would do with my friend. I would actually go into the router and change the name to, I would change the name to the SSID, often to hacked, put a password. So you would go somewhere and you'd see, my friend would see, oh, I was at the other day, I was at that street, the name was hacked, put a password. I said, oh, yeah, I was there. It's a friendly, I know it's not nice, but it's nice because it's a friendly, better put a password. Look, I was able to connect and to do something with your router, So, it's very important. WPA2 is the security to use. Never use WEP, the worst security ever. WPA is safe. WPA2 is safer because it's a better implementation of security. And contrary to what everybody sees on YouTube and on the web, I still want to have somebody in front of me that's going to hack into a WPA2 device. What's one of the questions that I did see at some point about routers, somebody was telling me, hey, I saw a video, somebody hacking into a WPA2 router, so it means it's not secure. You got to be careful. That video didn't tell you one important thing, is that the router they used had a flaw that was not fixed. So that's also why having the latest firmware in a router is the best thing you can do. And that's a lot of, unfortunately, that's a thing that's kind of difficult for a lot of people to do. And there's a lot of routers out there that actually aren't secure because they aren't patched. It's like Windows. Windows got updates for a very simple reason. It fixes security holes. Well, routers also have that in their firmware, but unfortunately, most of them don't auto-update. You have to do it yourself. And that's something that's out of a lot of people's abilities, unfortunately. But if you got a router, try to find out how to update its firmware. Use the latest version that they have. And also, make sure that you are using WPA2. It's the only real secure Wi-Fi connection. It's encrypted, and it is, I haven't seen anybody break it yet. If somebody would break WPA2, I can tell you one thing. A lot of people know about it. The only acts that I've seen are always because the routers they use have a flaw. Okay, other questions, email questions. Okay, one of the questions here comes from, let's just go here. So, okay, well, I'm going to go in order here because I've got a few things. Larry Elfritz says, what is the way to share a video with someone by email without posting it on YouTube for the whole world to see? Okay, videos are very, very large files, so how do you properly send a video on email? The best thing is to use a OneDrive account or a Dropbox account or anything like that where you can upload the video. Now, your OneDrive is personal, it's up to you. It doesn't have It doesn't. You don't share anything. So if you got already a Outlook or a Microsoft account, you already have a OneDrive account. Put the video there in the OneDrive account. Or you can open a free Dropbox account that goes up to, I believe it's 2 gigabytes that you're allowed. You can post a video there. And from there, you will have an option when you click on the file. There are different options. And one of the options is to create a link to share. So that's one option that you can use. Another thing that is possible, on YouTube, there is a way to share privately. When you post a video, you have a choice of public or private. You can tag a video as private, and only you and the people that you give the possibility will see it. But the easiest way, just upload it to Dropbox, to OneDrive, to Google Drive, and there share it by creating a link. And what you'll do is you'll send an email to that person and post a link of the video. One thing that I have to say again, every time you send something to someone, an attachment, a link for a video or something, always put in text just before you post the link. Hey, this is the video of that thing that I wanted to show you. This is in attachment, there's that document about that thing I was talking to you about. To really tell the person that you are the sender, because one of the biggest problems in email, and that's why I consider links and attachments dangerous and should not happen in email, is that if you get your account hacked, you can get a link or get an attachment that's not you and infect everybody with something, ransomware, whatever. So that's why be very clear every time you write to somebody. Hey there, you remember that video of my wedding I wanted to show you? Well, here it is. Click on the link below. This is my wedding. And make sure that they understand that you are the one sending it. Because don't click links when that person doesn't say anything. Most of the ways to detect that a link or an attachment is no good, usually there's something weird in the message. No body in the message, or no title, or it looks weird. Or it's written in English or in French or in some language other than the one that you were using. It's very, very weird. In general, it looks weird. An email that is sent without the consent of somebody is weird because it's sent by a machine, so it doesn't look and doesn't have the feel of a real person sending it. But that's the best way to send a video, is to upload it to some service like that, post a link and the email to send to your friends, because you can't send videos. A very small video will pass, but most email providers have a break of anywhere from 10 to 15 megabytes of maximum file size. So if you, of course, send more than that, it doesn't work. So basically. So what else do we have here? What else do we have? Oh, Tim, which one did you send? You sent it at the From the Couch or this one? Because From the Couch is Gabrielle that checks that. Because here I don't have, I didn't see anything off of my PayPal side, by the way, Tim. Also, a question that comes to me from Gabrielle probably did not click accept in the PayPal. I'll let him know, because what I've decided to do with by the way, From the Couch PayPal, because he's participating in everything. I told him that everything that was in From the Couch would go to him. And I have my donations on my side, so I'll text him a little later, let him know that he has to accept the funds. Okay. And no problem about that, Tim. You're very, very generous, by the way, and thank you very much. And another question I've got is how to properly send to a group by email. One of the very important things when you send by email is to always, when you send to a group, make sure that everybody that you put is in the BCC field. And the BCC field is the field where it's invisible. You know, the biggest problem is if you put all the names into the to place, you will actually give everybody, and that, you know, that drives me mad and drives mad most people. If in the to field where you enter one, you know, when you usually enter one email to who you're going to write, if you put 10 emails, everybody sees everybody's emails. So they will see that there's a bunch of emails at the top, and, you know, it's kind of not the nice or the correct way to send an email. Every email provider of any kind, you will see there's to, CC, and BCC. And you want to use BCC because it blocks all the emails from being visible. So there, if you enter 20 emails, people will think you're actually sending them an email personally. They won't see any other emails. They won't be, you know, in the impression that they are part of a group or anything. And that's the proper way to send emails, with the BCC field. Very, very important. Because too many people don't use that. And what happens is that it actually simply, you know, sends all the emails to everybody. And, you know, sometimes it's sensitive. Sometimes your email is going to be in the hands of somebody that likes you, but you don't necessarily like them. They're going to start writing back to you saying, hey, I got your email from, you know, it's kind of not cool. So you want to keep it as low profile as possible. And, you know, you don't want your email to show up on everybody's page usually. Cortana unusual behavior. One of the question comes from Albert. It says, why Cortana, when asked about weather, would start opening the Edge browser instead of telling you? You know, that should not be all the time, by the way, Albert. And it is a known issue. It is a known issue in the in Windows 10. Even I'd say once every 10 or 15 times that I would ask Cortana for the weather, will actually pop up in open Edge browser with weather instead of just telling me, hey. And it happens with many things, not just the weather. When it does that, actually, if you ask her anything, she always opens a browser for some reason. But that's not on your side, Albert. It's something that's a bug in Windows 10 and Cortana. I believe it's sometimes when Cortana doesn't connect well to the Microsoft servers, they actually probably you know, send you with the browser to the page instead, so that you can actually see the weather if you had some issues. So I don't know. It is a bug. It's a known bug within the well, I got cat hair everywhere, man. Also, got a question coming from I'm losing my, okay, Frank. Frank says, hey, love your show. Here's a couple of Cortana questions. Something went wrong. First of all, every time you try to access Cortana to do something, it says something went wrong. You never get an answer. It never works. Yeah, there's something. There's some kind of issue for sure. Try it with, if you can try it with a different internet connection just to see. Make sure that your antivirus, if you have a third-party antivirus with firewall and everything, make sure that doesn't block in some way Cortana from working well. And also you see that on another computer you have Cortana that it doesn't work at all. So you know what, I would suspect there's a possibility of some kind of network issue on your side, because you do say that on one it says went wrong, and on the other one Cortana just don't want to start. It might be that Cortana has some issue with connecting to the internet. And I would check, make sure that all the connections are okay, you know, shut down, restart your router, your modem, your computer, of course. Make sure also that you will check out if you have a third-party antivirus. Happens very often that a third-party antivirus or if it's not third-party antivirus, it's maybe the firewall, sometimes blocks Cortana and doesn't work well. So make sure that nothing is blocking on that side. And for the Cortana can't work, make sure that you've got the proper country, language, and everything. And remember that you have to download the language pack. So if you actually installed it with a specific language, you got to download the language packs so that Cortana can speak. If they're not there, Cortana will not activate or work. So hope this helps a little bit here. Computer mysteries. I'm calling that computer mysteries. In the computer mysteries, we've got a few things. I'm just going to check something here because I don't remember how they did the slides. Okay, previous. In the computer mysteries of the week, there's tons of computer mysteries, by the way, all the time. In computer mysteries of the week, we have, first of all, Jacqueline McBride that says that she was playing games, and sometimes when she watches YouTube videos, screen goes black. Also, she does say that she bought a new gaming computer. The old computer died, making beeping noise when it turned it on. So she wants to know why it was doing beeping stuff. So okay, there's a lot of issues here because I don't have any thing. I don't see your PC, so I don't know exactly. But there's a lot of things that can be happening. So first of all, black screen when playing videos or gaming could be an issue. Two types of issue possible with this. Either your graphics adapter driver needs to be updated. Maybe it needs to be updated to the latest version. Or if it has updated, maybe it has a bug and it creates that issue. So you can check out the manufacturer's website, see if there are updates to the graphics adapter driver. So you go to the manufacturer's website, you go choose your model, and you check, display adapter or something like that, graphics adapter or whatever, and check if they have a download that you can actually download and click and install, which might actually fix that issue. You say the old computer died, it beeps when you try to start it up and doesn't start. Here there are two possibilities. A key has stuck on your keyboard. That's a very, very often thing. If it beeps constantly, without stopping, your keyboard has a problem. Either that the keyboard has a key stuck, if you've dropped water or liquids, your keyboard might actually be short-circuiting. And if it's just a series of beep, a little bit like Morse code, so it's going to do like ba 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 and stop. Now it's trying to tell you something. There are a whole host of beep codes when a computer starts. So if you have a desktop, for example, on PCs, on laptops, we don't hear the beeps very often. Usually if we hear a beep, it's because there's something wrong. On desktops, we often hear that single beep that just says the post has gone through. That means the test of the motherboard and all the components said it's okay, we can continue on here. But on the laptops, that beep, we don't hear it. They just didn't put that beep there. But laptops, like desktops, will beep if there are some issues. And one of the issues is the fact that you will know, or the computer will try to tell you something through that. And every manufacturer has a set of codes. So for example, if it's an HP, what I would suggest is listen to the beeps. If they are not continuous, listen to the beeps. You will have a sequence. 3 short beeps, 3 long beeps, 2 short beeps, 2 long beeps, whatever. Remember the order and say, oh, okay, it's 2 short beeps, 2 long beeps. Go to Google and type, I don't know, if it's an HP 2 short beeps, 2 long beeps. And it's going to actually bring you to the page saying, oh, that means this problem. One of the most common that I've seen in my tech jobs, faulty RAM. When the RAM memory has a problem, it can create a series of beeps that start it. I've seen also in desktops, a graphics adapter not seated well within its PCI Express slot, and because it's not seating well, the connections are not there, so it's going to say, hey, beep 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 beep, there's something wrong. And when you look at the beeps, it means there's no graphics adapter, I can't continue. So there's a whole host of beeps, and it's like Morse code here. And basically, it is something that you got to listen to. But if it's continuous beeps, like I say, you got to short on your keyboard. A key stuck, or if you've spilled a little something on it. As a tech guy, I can tell you one thing: is a lot of clients will call me up and say, "Hey, I don't know why it doesn't work." Yeah, you kind of spilled something in it. You could have told me that, and I immediately told you on the phone, well, your keyboard needs to be changed, or depending on what you spilled. But if you didn't, a key could be stuck simply, and basically that's the one of the very, very, very common issues. But that is only if it always is on. If the beep is there all the time and doesn't change. One thing not to overlook also, if you want a desktop, or if you're using a mouse, especially a mouse with a little wire attached to it, sometimes a short in the mouse cable will also make the computer beep like crazy. And one of the questions you've got is, what can make a computer suddenly stop working? Lots of things. Computers are not totally 100%. There are some issues that could, pop up. Some computers will run for years without any issues. Sometimes computers will have issues. It all depends, of many factors. Electronics, even though very reliable, can give away. So you can have, a bad RAM module. It could be the motherboard that gets faulty. Remember, computers run hot all the time. Often that increases the chance of electronics failing. So you could have, a motherboard that crashed, some part on the motherboard that is defective. Hard drive, screen on laptop screens are some of the things that are often a problem, because after a certain time, screen will go dark. The lighting system doesn't work anymore. So it's all things that can happen with electronics, basically, and there's a clear, the hotter a computer runs, the more chances you'll have that it might actually have a problem at some point. So you got to remember that. Hope that helps. Okay, before I go to this, I believe there's a question from our friend Stephen Mail that I've not done a slide with. And the question is about partitions. So you say that on a Dell desktop you created a new partition of 200 to 300 gigabyte. Would I be able to use the original recovery USB media to install the original Windows 8.1 on that partition? Could I also use the original recovery media to install Windows 8.1 on a virtual machine? Reason he asked is that if I use the 8.1 media creation tool that I have, it does not have the original activation key, and I may be out of luck. So here's the thing, okay, Windows 8.1 and Windows 10, when you have an OEM or an original equipment manufacturer laptop, desktop, is linked to your machine in a different way than when we install Windows from the outside. So that's why that Windows partition, you need to use that recovery. It's the only way it's going to actually activate and work for that machine, because it's the way that it was meant to be. Now, that recovery, it depends on how they did it. Because if you do a partition, there are different types of recoveries, and they don't all do the same thing. Some recoveries will actually let you install and then choose whatever partition to install to. But there's a lot of recovery media that actually are kind of images. They aren't installs of Windows, but more of an image of Windows that is just writing itself over a hard drive. If that is the case, you cannot choose what partition. If you create partitions, you'll notice that after you install Windows 8.1 with that media, it will have recreated the original partition of the original size when you bought your computer. If that happens, the best thing to do is of course you can try it out and see what it asks you. If you don't have anything to lose on that partition or that computer, you'll see it's going to show you if yes or no it's going to do it. Sometimes it will install an original partition, but will keep the second partition there in case you need it for something else. It all depends on how they did that tool to recreate the partition. Every manufacturer is different, and even within a manufacturer, it's not always the same thing. So the best thing that you could do is try it out. If you got nothing to lose, just try it out. Now you say also that you about a year ago you created a Chromium which did not work well on a USB drive. Your old Pentium 4 for some reason will not boot on USB. That is common, by the way. Okay, a lot of Pentium 4 and older machines do not have the possibility to run an update or boot from a USB thumb drive. Okay, this is one thing that you need to know, is that old computers don't all have USB boot possibilities. Actually, USB booting became something really popular when pretty much around the Core 2 machines and after that. So when there was a Core 2, Core 2 Duo, stuff like that, these machines were pretty much all standard USB booting possibility. But on Pentium 4s, there's a lot of Pentium 4s that can't boot on USB at all. They don't have that possibility. Now you say you have Vista on that P4 and doesn't have a lot of memory, so it doesn't work well, and is it time for junk pile? Well, before you do that, because yes, it is an old machine, and then you got to understand that a Pentium 4 is really old stuff. But here are 5 little things that I will give you that you might try, and they are Linux. And your only real way to save that Pentium 4 is possibly with a Linux version. The one that I would recommend, okay, is Lubuntu. So there's Ubuntu. Just add an L at the beginning. Lubuntu, Lubuntu. It's one of the most popular, and it is made for old machines, starting and going as far back as Pentium 2 computers. Minimum requirement, 128 megabytes of RAM. Gives you an idea of how this distro really requires a little, just very little effort. And latest Ubuntu, Lubuntu, so Ubuntu and Lubuntu. So you can try that out. Another one that is possibility is Linux Lite, which will work also. This one asks for a Pentium 3 700 megahertz or later. So Linux Lite is another version you can try. And you can also try one last that I would say that I would actually tell you is Puppy Linux. Kind of a little weird. It's a little quirky. Puppy Linux. And finally, TinyCore is another Linux distro. And this one also requires very little space. So TinyCore, Puppy Linux. The one that I do recommend for you would be Lubuntu, Lubuntu, and also Linux Lite. The reason I'm giving you several distros with computers that are older, what happens from time to time is that some distros don't work well, others will work better. So I think that's the best thing to try out here. It's one of those distros. I think that's gonna really that's gonna make your computer run, your Pentium 4 run. You know, Lubuntu will actually make your Pentium 4 almost look like it's a fresh new computer, and you'll have the latest browsers and everything. So it's gonna be, you know, it might actually give it some more time, basically. You see that you found a Windows 10 Mini PC, next box T11 with an Intel Z8300 quad core, 1.84 gigahertz, 4 gigs RAM, 64 gig desk computer with Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and everything. Official license, key support, VGA in Asia, or $182.99. So you know, remember one thing. That this will work, but everything that is, you know, made with Intel Z processors are usually a little sluggish. So I'm not sure I would recommend that personally. So, and also you're talking about Windows 10 S. You know, wait for the fall season if you're not if you want to have something. It's you know, that you basically will have a host. You know, there's tons of Windows 10 S machines that will be arriving to the market this fall. And basically, it's what's happening. You will have a lot of choices probably this fall, so maybe wait and see. There's a lot of things that are going to show up. But you know, Windows 10 S, I gotta say, is you know, it's not, you know, it's not, it has too many limits, personally. I can tell you one thing, a lot of people are ranting about Windows Defender not being good, as you're saying, but you know, I just want to say one thing here, is that anybody that says, oh, you never should have that virus or that antivirus, is an idiot tech person, because who cares? I don't care. I will rant and I will say it all the time. I don't care your antivirus you got. I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't even want to know. It's like, you are your protection. Who cares? Hey, my Windows 7 machine here has been working for months here. It doesn't even have an antivirus. I've never installed an antivirus. I actually shut down the little message that says, hey, you don't have an antivirus. I don't care. It's up to date. And in its operating system, and the browser I use is up to date. I don't care. And I haven't had a virus, and I'm sure I don't have a virus on it. Who cares? You can surf the web without antivirus if you want. That knowledge and that thinking of people, oh, I got a new computer, better install that antivirus right away, is flawed. Totally flawed. Part of it is due to antivirus companies themselves that are trying to tell you, hey, we check everything. We even check what color underwear you have to make sure that no viruses will come to your computer. And, you know, that's just the thing. Who cares? Who cares? Because you're the protection. You're careful what you do on the web, your computer will be okay. And that's the important thing. So, you know, all I got to say is there are people that think that, you know, I don't know, some antivirus is like some kind of really, you know, magical program that is going to, you know, protect you even if you aren't careful. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay? Actually, I've seen so many so many people that have the big gun antivirus, but that download, illegal stuff all the time, and they get bitten by viruses all the time. And they think, well, I've got Norton 360, I've got, the biggest Kaspersky thing, I've got that, McAfee with the 36 process verification thing. No, look, if you think the antivirus protecting you, you are way off, and it's not at all the case. Not at all the case. And it's the thing of just being careful and just making sure that you don't click on everything you see. So so if my antivirus knows what color underwear I got, maybe there's a problem. So there's a lot of stuff. And you say you commented on this. You told the guy, if you like, we could, pretend George W. Bush is still president. Everyone can still use Windows XP 7. I realize some people will believe anything they see. After all, it's on the internet. That, unfortunately, is a lot of people. A lot of people are like that. There's way too much things that one of the pictures I see often on Facebook that people post sometimes is hey, it's a picture of like a kid looking and smiling at his computer screen and saying, I saw it on the internet, it must be true. And that's unfortunately the thing that is incredible, and really incredible. I can tell you that. One thing that I will also talk about is hard drive stuff, because I've got this one before we continue on to this web question. So Steve Martin says that he's been using cloning software. He uses there's a Seagate Disk Wizard, or different versions of ESUS version 7 or the new version 11 of cloning the hard drives. So most of the time he uses Seagate Disk Wizard, and he's got a problem. He says that on his main computers he's been cloning, and basically when he goes on his wife's HP laptop, the Seagate program works okay till it restarts and gets an error, and it gets a runtime error. So there are several things that can happen. First of all, remember that the PCs today have Secure Boot enabled. Secure Boot is there to prevent viruses from or malware to kind of run at the boot up sequence. And what happens is that, first of all, can be something that will break your cloning software, because when it restarts, the Secure Boot feature will look and say, hey, this isn't something that I'm used to. It doesn't work in the way that I'm used to having work. What you could try is turn off Secure Boot if you can. And a lot of BIOSes do not let you remove Secure Boot. It depends on the machine you've got. Another thing that happens, a lot of machines don't boot well with these programs, and that happens very often. That is why, of course, the cool thing about cloning a hard drive from within the computer is because it's much faster when you have, SATA to SATA cloning. It's very, very fast. But it will happen that it doesn't work, and it happens quite frequently, by the way, that it doesn't work depending on computers. If that happens, what you'll need to do is simply get yourself a little kit. It doesn't cost a lot, like $20. And that kit will enable you to actually take hard drive and put that hard drive in USB on your PC. So you take out that hard drive, you'll put it on USB, and best way to do it is to, have your you have two drives. Now it's much longer, by the way. I have to tell you, it's going to be very, very long by USB. Unless you got USB 3, USB 3 isn't too bad. And you could put both drives, and you can run the software within Windows instead, and say clone that drive on that drive. Thank you. It's a little more complex because you need a little more equipment, but on some machines I had to do that. It all depends. It's not a Windows 10 thing, by the way. It's a much more of, you've seen it more recently, but it is more of a computer boot thing. So like I said, it could be a secure boot problem that's preventing that software. Also, remember one thing, a lot of the cloning software have not been updated in a long time, especially the tools that the hard drive companies actually have. A lot of them are, when you look at them, have not been updated in such a long time. And you look at that and you're like, what the hell? That software hasn't been updated in 6 years. And technology does update. So, it's very important to know that. So, the best thing would be get yourself a little kit to plug in the hard drives in by USB and clone it with the Windows version of the software, because you're using the let's boot from that software thing. With the little kit that you plug your hard drive by USB, you'll be able to clone it within Windows and have it cloned correctly, because now you'll have your software working. So that's pretty much what I would do, clone it through USB, but it's going to be much longer. It's not super fast, and if you're cloning a 1 terabyte drive, it's like, whoa, this is going to be long. But it's going to work. It's going to work. But don't worry, it does happen. There are a lot of computers cannot boot on these things very, very often. Okay. Before we continue with some of the new questions that were added, I got a question from Alex Tuttle. I got a new question also from Marilyn Parker, aka Gribble Pearls. Okay. Just going back here, web questions, and these are coming. This is a question that came yesterday evening from Sophia. Sophia says that she is trying to build an online community around a subject that she has. And she says that one of the things she's wondering is, how do you get Twitter followers? Because she has a Twitter account and had a Twitter account for a while, and she says she's got 3 followers for the past year, hasn't gone better or anything. Now she says she's noticed that my account has 500 plus followers. How did you do it? Okay, first of all, make sure that you have that you're active, you're regularly active all the time, that you post every day if possible. Make sure that you will post, of course, on a subject, very specific subjects that you talk to. But a lot of the followers that you will get will come simply from the fact you interact with some social websites. So, create a Facebook page, go to different forums that talk about the subject that you are talking about. Make sure that you get known by these people. Make sure that, my 500 plus followers, are a majority of them are radio related, shortwave radio. And it's by going to different websites, different forums, and interacting, and always, signing off with my name, but my Twitter account also. People say, hey, he's on Twitter, so, let's check it out, by doing things like here on YouTube and, saying, hey, I've got a Twitter account if you guys want to add me to that, become a follower of mine. So that's how I got, 500. That the account I got on Twitter is like 2 years old. And I'm at I think it was 525 this morning when I looked. So you gotta interact. If you just post on Twitter, you'll never get followers. It's like Twitter is like a sea of tweets and nobody sees anything. I always say on Twitter, you don't see anything. What you see is almost by chance all the time. And that's why you gotta specifically go to some Twitter accounts when you want to see something. A great example of that is, even though I prioritize Donna Sarkar's page to see if there's new bills and stuff, unless I specify I want to see Donna's posts, you don't see a thing unless by chance you just looked at your Twitter feed and she just posted 2 seconds ago. So it's Twitter is kind of that sea of tweets, very difficult to go through, very difficult to know what people are saying or sharing on there. It's just amazing. Also, you say, how many websites are there on the internet? So that's an interesting question. How many websites on the internet? Let me check that out. I don't know if there's are there 2017. Here goes. How many websites are there on the internet in 2017? I have a number that is from the end of 2016. That is apparently a pretty official number. And by the end of 2016, it says that the number of websites on the internet is above 300 million. So it gives you an idea. 300 million. So that's a lot. So there's anywhere from 3 to 500, I would say, right now. But there's a lot of stuff out there. Imagine 300 million. I can tell you one thing. We haven't, I don't even go to 0.0001% of those. And you say, what are the biggest users of internet bandwidth? Because you are looking at hosting and you are looking also at things that you want to do and what usually takes the most bandwidth on the internet. Okay, well, if you're looking at hosting, the best hosting that you can have is anyone that tells you that the bandwidth is free and there's no limit, because basically it depends on what you're going to do. If you're just going to have a website with little pictures and a lot of text, maybe some blogs, stuff like that, and maybe a chat place or anything like that, or a comment section, you don't really need that much. That doesn't take a lot. What takes a lot of bandwidth on the internet and on websites? Video. Everything that you'll have to do is with video. So what you could do for that is embed YouTube videos. For the best part, when people say, well, how can I host videos if I have a limit? And I will always tell them, create a YouTube channel, put the videos on YouTube, and share and embed these videos in your website. So when you click to play the video, it doesn't count as bandwidth for you because it plays from YouTube, not from your website. So, and a lot of people do that today. Even government websites do it today. They want to post videos, they just shove it on YouTube and embed the video from YouTube there, and it works, So basically, that's pretty much what you need to do. And the biggest users of the internet bandwidth, the video websites, I believe YouTube and Netflix together are like 90% of all internet traffic right now. So that gives you an idea. YouTube and Netflix. Netflix alone is, I believe, it's like 70-75% of traffic in the evenings in North America. Just incredible when you think about it, to have to use a lot of bandwidths. Sorry. So I hope I answered your questions here. Before we go to hello to the chat, I'll just check out what arrived in the email. Alex has an email about bad sectors for hard drives. Now, he says that how do you deal with hard drives that have bad sectors on them and everything. So bad sectors do. Okay, let's go to a basic thing about hard drives first of all. All hard drives, even brand new, okay, have bad sectors. No hard drive is 100%. Never, 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 never. Even the ones that you buy in the store have a certain number. And the thing is, when you buy a hard drive, the hard drive manufacturer will actually, while it's doing the process of checking the drive to make sure it's okay, allocate a certain number of bad sectors already in a table within the hard drive, because your hard drive has a bad sector table. It knows where to avoid writing stuff because it knows there is not good. And the reason there's bad sectors on every hard drive is because we've been now having drives that are so amazing at storing the data that there's a lot of stuff in a very tiny amount of space. Increases the risk of having problems. So bad sectors happen. They are usually at the start written off, but they will, on some hard drives, they will actually happen with time. After usage, after many years of being used, a hard drive can typically have some bad sectors. And often when you have a bad sector, somebody that's used to listening to the hard drive, how it spins, how it works, bad sectors, and here we're talking about mechanical drives, you'll hear that, when it tries to read or do something on a specific place, you hear it ticking very rapidly. And that's because it's trying to write or read from there and it's having difficulty. Bad sectors happen also on SSDs, of course. And these are little memory spots that will come dead at a certain point. The best tool to deal with that, and you know what, I've used a lot of tools. Of course, you can use a check disk, a very, very full check disk /R, which will actually look and write off some bad sectors within Windows. But the best tools are either you can use the tools from the hard drive manufacturers. They often have diagnostics and verification tools. These are the free kind. You get the ones from, if you have a Seagate drive, you go to Seagate, you get their tool, and they have tools that will help you, verify, surface, write, because that table of bad sectors, by the way, is something that can be written on the hard drive. So the hard drive can add sectors that are bad to its list, so it doesn't use it in the future. But the best tool, the one that I've bought because it's like I don't know if it's still $80, but I believe it's $79.95, is SpinRite. SpinRite by Steve Gibson is one of the most amazing tools at verifying a hard drive with bad sector, writing off the bad sectors. Not just that, if a hard drive fails, but it's kind of maybe readable, SpinRite is amazing. It might take a long time, but it's going to bring back that hard drive to life. It's going to do everything it needs and verify and, check off all the bad sectors and stuff. And it is an amazing tool. It is totally worth the money that it is. So Tim Robinson's suggesting HD Tune also. But SpinRite is the only thing that I use, and I still use it today. If I have to. It still works fine, and it actually works even for SSDs, by the way, which is amazing. So if you have disk, what you'll need to do in servers where you got many disks, the best way to deal with that will be to identify which one is defective. It's very complex. When you get into RAID, it's become complex because one of the reasons for RAID, is also to have redundancy and have as possible not lose data if possible also. But you'll have to, one of the things you'll have to know is which one you'll have to ID it and check them out, one by one sometimes. It's a very, very complex issue when you get into RAID, because it's a very, most hard drive tools are not really well done to verify in RAID sequences what hard drive is or not working right. So it's very, very specific. It's very difficult when that happens, and you got almost to take off the drives and just try them independently with a piece of software like Spinrite or something, and it's going to tell you if its state, basically, if it works well or not. Spinrite doesn't work in the same way as a lot of tools. It doesn't require to have a specific format or way of being formatted or written to. Spinrite actually just looks at each sector, and that's it. It doesn't need a pattern of any kind. A lot of tools require the hard drives to have a pattern or have a certain file format in order to actually work, or else they're totally lost. So all depends on how you want to do it and what you need to do. But you can have a lot of sectors, bad sectors on a hard drive, and it still continues running and purring. Yeah, thing is, Western Digital, it's just amazing. But I was looking at reports, and they seem to have a higher failure rate than a lot of other hard drives, which is kind of amazing. When I always thought that basically it is some of the best hard drives. It's kind of crazy. And before we say hello, I'm just gonna go to Gripple Post questions. First of all, got an update for Feedback Hub, and now it will not open. It says something went wrong. Try again later. This is a commonly known thing. All you need to do is go into Settings, go into Apps, click Feedback Hub, go into Advanced Options, and there you will simply click the reset button. Is going to reset the Feedback Hub. It's a known issue for everybody, and even Donna Sarkar has said that pretty much everyone has a problem with the Feedback Hub lately. So Settings, Apps, click on Feedback Hub, go to the Advanced Options, and there click Reset. It's going to bring back your Feedback Hub. If that doesn't work, what you could do is uninstall it and go back to the store. Just what I said. Kind of a weird message here, but I think it just needs to be reset. And yes, there is an update for people that were not on Kriya's update. Yes, there is an update, and it is something that updates the anniversary update. So yeah, maybe I would actually run the Windows when you go to the Windows update. There's a thing called fixing Windows Update. You need to fix Windows Update. Maybe you need that fix-it tool for Windows 10. Maybe you have an issue in maybe KB3150513 that you got all the time. Maybe that one is actually stuck. And if it's stuck, it will prevent everything else. Did you get the updates this month, by the way? On Patch Tuesday of this month, because yes, there's another update, but did you get your updates on Patch Tuesday? That's also something I'd like to know, by the way. Hey, hey everybody, nice to have you on board. And hello chat room, Bobby Burgess, Zach Hentel, Tim Robinson, Alex Stuttle. What do we have? Ripple Pearls, Patrick Manny. Anybody? Cosmic Lettuce. Hello there, Albert Zappa. I saw Stephen Mail earlier. What else am I missing? Say hello, please, David Walker. Hello there. Anybody that I missed? Say hello, please. Say hello, please. And hope that everything is all right. So yeah, but we got to be careful, Tim, of RAID. There's different RAIDs, and each RAID does not necessarily cover the loss of data from other drives. It all depends on how it was done. There are, from RAID 0, RAID 6, it all has its different way of organizing the hard drive. So they're not all necessarily giving you a backup of everything else, for sure. So if you do get, Patrick Manny, if you do get a lot of bad sectors, yeah, there could be, your drive might be failing. A drive is isolated from the regular atmosphere. Within a hard drive, what they do is they usually pump noble gases, So basically what happens is these gases kind of keep the innards of the hard drive in a neutral way. And also, especially in spinning hard drives, you got to think that the head, the read-write head, actually floats above a cushion of air while the disk is spinning, which is amazing. And that is actually thinner than the width of a hair. So it's just amazing. Yeah, okay. I wouldn't worry too much about it right now. That latest update was bug fixes, and you know what? I would need to check it out. Because some of the updates sometimes do push some versions at a certain point, but not everybody. Maybe that's an indication about something also on your computer. There's something that they're not pushing now. But you can try, if you Google Windows 10 Fix-It tool, Windows Update, and there's a way to do it from within that I'm trying to remember here. But if you go to Windows Update, if you go into Settings, let's just go here, Settings. Oh shit. Settings. Sorry guys. And Windows Update. Update and Security. You have in the where did I see that? There's, I believe, a place where you can start, change active hours, update history. I do think there was some place where you could go to fix, or I think it's in the control panel. In the control panel, yeah. Fix update. Just gonna check it out. There's something about, I think in the control panel, there's a place where you can go. I'm gonna actually revisit these in some videos. I think they are some things that might be very useful. So let's just go back here because I just clicked and everything disappear. But there's a tool also that you can get from the Microsoft website, and that will fix it. But if you got your Patch Tuesday updates, I'm not sure you got a problem basically, and maybe that Patch Tuesday didn't work. It wasn't for you. maybe for some reason. Huh. What else do we have here? My computer runs like crap when I try to play Minecraft and all things, and they should run fine. Any ideas? First question, of course, is did it run well? First of all, did you ever play Minecraft and it was running okay and now it's crappy? Make sure that your computer isn't overloaded with too many things that it's doing. Check out the startup items by right-clicking and going to the task manager. You can go to startup items. If you're on Windows 7, you just type msconfig, go to startup, make sure that there's not too many things starting up, and make sure that your graphics adapter is good enough to run correctly. Sean Robinson, hello there. Kirk Weber, hello there. Stephen Rego, hello there. Jeremy Ward, nice to have you here. First time, cool. Cool, nice to have you here for the first time. Hope it's going to be a habit and you're going to come here. So cool. 512 gigabyte Western Digital Black SSD, that's cool. Hey, Tim Brennan, hello there, nice to have you here. Paul Harrison, hello there again. Robert Remen, hello. Adam Guardado, nice to have you here. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And really nice to have everyone on board, and as usual. And don't forget, if you want to help us out, I'll just I'll display that again. If you want to help me out, if you like the shows that I do, you can of course send me a little something in the form of a PayPal donation at the Yahoo email you see here. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/radioandcomputers. And by the way, be careful when you become a patron, because one of the things that I have noticed about Patreon, some people don't read everything, and I actually have somebody that's real mad at me now because what happened is he didn't look correctly at how he set up his account on Patreon. And on the 1st of this month, because it's always on the 1st of the month that they charge the patrons, they actually tried to charge him $750, which didn't go work on his credit card and actually put him into trouble. And so he told me, oh, what gives? They're trying to get, tons of money. And like, no, I'm not the one that has control over that. You're the one that's setting it up. I'm not the one that's asking. So what happened is he had set up $50, but he had not set up maximum $50 for the month. He had just put $50 every time I post a video. So it got up to $750. So if you ever become a patron, be very, very careful how you set it up. And actually, I've started looking at all new patrons to make sure that they've set it up right, because I can see how you set up your Patreon account. So if I see it's wrong, I'm going to actually send you an email and say, hey, you know what? I think you set it up wrong, because right now I'm going to get tons of money. So just be careful. If you can help us out, much appreciated. And thank you, Tim Robinson. Always very, very generous of you. Really, really nice. Okay. Yeah, I did have a few people that actually told me that they weren't able to install the last cumulative update correctly. So maybe I should basically maybe redo a video, because somebody actually had asked me that question, and I posted a link to the specific update. So if anybody has problems installing the latest update, I could maybe do a video and post a link of the manual, the way to do it manually. If it doesn't work, you can do it manually. Settings updates, troubleshoot. Thanks, Tim Brennan, for completing. I was trying to find a place. I get so many things in my head sometimes when I go to the websites. So in troubleshoot, you can maybe have a check of your Windows Update gripple pearls. And Patch Tuesday was on the 9th of this month, yes. It's always the second Tuesday of the month. What else here? Okay, Cosmic Lettuce. I want to ask you again about characters and folder names that I created. When I try to delete them, the OS says that they aren't there. Yeah, and have you made sure that you don't have invisible the invisible folders activated in Windows 7? When you go to when you right-click a folder and go to Properties, you will be able to go into see a list of I don't remember if it's Advanced or something, and on that list of options that you can click. One of them is enable and disable the invisible folders. Make sure you don't have your invisible folders activated. Have you checked that, Cosmic Lettuce? So what else do we have here? Bodhi says, guys, I have a virus and I can delete. When I run any antivirus, says to me the requested resource is in use. Yeah, that's very common, because when the virus is actually working and doing stuff, you can't delete it or you can't do anything about it. You need to do a scan, and your antivirus, every antivirus, including Defender, can do a scan, what's called an offline scan, which is a scan at the start of Windows. So what you want to do is that scan. That one will be able to remove it possibly. Or else, there are some viruses that are very, very tough to remove. What you might need to do is actually find a tool, a fix tool. And last but not least, you can also try a antivirus scan in safe mode, because it is always difficult to remove some of these viruses. And when they're run, the computer can't do anything about it, because it's being prevented from actually deleting it. It is running. You can't delete something that's running. That's why a lot of stuff in Windows are done when you restart. So have your antivirus, whatever you're using, do a scan at startup. That might actually fix it there. And try Malwarebytes anti-malware if you want. So so here is Paul the cat meowing, like feed me or do something human. I'm here soon. Don't worry, we're almost over here. Yeah, that's true, Patrick. You got to be careful in the way that it's set up. Yeah, it could be also because it's telemetry, or it's having a problem installed for some reason. But make sure that you check your option. And like Cosmic Lettuce says, by the way, Patrick, you can just say how much, the maximum amount. That's the thing in Patreon. Make sure that you set up, I don't want to give more than this every month, to make sure that you don't go overboard, because that's the tricky thing about Patreon that I maybe don't like totally. That's why I kind of always say, hey, just do it on PayPal, because on PayPal you can get fooled, and on PayPal, if you want to give me $10, you just put $10 and that's it. That's one of the things there. Hey TOT, nice to have you on board. Nice to have you on board. And Mad Radio DXer, hello there. Gripple Pearls, why would the Feedback Hub ask me to install it on internal hard drive if it's already installed? I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it seems that it can't find itself correctly, or it doesn't understand how it's installed. So go to settings and do like I did. Go to the settings, go into apps, click the Feedback Hub, there go into the advanced options, and reset the app, and it's going to start working again. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Yeah, that's why there's a few things about Patreon that I find a little awkward in the way that they do things. And when I saw that guy got, they tried to deduct, because I looked at the list at the first of the month and I saw that they tried to deduct $750. I was like, whoa, what the hell happened there? And I understand the guy to be kind of be mad, And by the way, if it ever happens to anyone, and it's like, oh, you know what, Patreon took $200, and all I wanted to do is give you $20, don't hesitate to contact me and let me know. I'll just refund, no problem. There's absolutely no problem there. Yeah, maybe you sent too many feedback, Grateful Pearls. They decided, hey, that gal, just let's remove her from the feedback hub. So, hey everyone, I'm going to go eat a little something. We have the Windows Insider Hour coming up in an hour and a half. And so we'll talk about Insider Bells. Actually, it'll be more like a questions and answer thing, because no new bells. So, of course, no new bells today either. Donna Sarkar early this morning said, hey, we're just running around doing things. No time for builds today. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow, Wednesday. That'd be cool. And so we'll still be in the 16199 thing. And basically, hopefully, everything will be all right. And like I said, for the antivirus, the virus that can be removed, simply scan, take your antivirus and make it scan at startup. Yeah, Kirk, Patreon is a way to just set up and forget about it. And what it does is it gives you the possibility to set up and say, okay, I want every month to, give $10. And so what it does is you set it up, forget about it, comes in automatically. That's the positive side of Patreon. You just got to make sure that you set it right so that it doesn't take more than you want. But once it's set up, and I've got a few patrons and it works quite well. And so, you just put an upper limit, saying, hey, I don't want to give more than this per month. And then once it's set up, you just let it go. And I've got several donators that have been giving to me on Patreon for the past year. I think it's going to be a year in something like in June that I'm on Patreon, and works great. So you can set it up there. With Patreon, you can set it up to do it monthly and do whatever you want. Poor little guy is meowing like crazy. He wants to go out. So I like your deal with $750 a month. I believe you can, Kirk. I believe you can say just set it up and the options. I believe you can just say I want to give $20 and that's it. Because every month my number of patrons change. So that means when you get at the end of the month and the first of the month they actually charge, I see a number of patrons that the number of patrons that I have drop. And that shows me that some people just set it up for one and that's it. So I guess you can set it up just for a one-time thing if you want, Kirk, for sure. So take care, everybody. See you in an hour and a half if you want, an hour and 20 minutes now. And we'll be at the Windows Insider Hour on the Windows Insider channel. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's my cat. He just really wants my attention now, so I'm going to go see what he wants. Take care, everybody. See you a little later, or else Thursday. We have... Yes, that was Paul meowing. Absolutely. So, yeah, and he's just running around me. It's like looking at me intensely now. Thursday from the couch show, 4 p.m. Eastern, 20 UTC. So see you a little later. Take care, everyone. And if you only come back next week, peace. Love you all. Stay safe, please. And see you in the next show. Bye.